Oh, sorry. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's another very informative podcast session. And today we have a well-known and renowned person from the field of education, Mr. Mohammad Nabil. Mohammad Nabil is an ESL educator with over a decade of experience in the ELT field. He is the founder of Educast International Association, a podcaster. Educast International Association, a podcaster, an educational consultant, and conferences event organizer. He's also a highly sought-after speaker and trainer and has presented at conferences and workshops around the world. He is passionate about helping teachers improve their skills and knowledge, and he is dedicated to providing high-quality professional development opportunities. He is also a strong advocate for lifelong learning, and he believes that teachers should never stop growing and developing. Welcome, Mr. Mohammad Nabil. How are you?
Well, I'm good, thank you. And thank you for your wonderful introduction. My name is Mohammad Nabil, and I'm an ESL EFL educator from Egypt. And thank you for inviting me to this. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's a pleasure to have you today in our podcast session. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, okay, as I told you, my name is Mohammad Nabil. Almost everyone calls me Mo, inside and outside Egypt. I've been involved in the field of ELT for over a decade. I'm a teacher trainer. I'm also a podcaster and an educational events organizer. I'm from a city in Egypt called Mahalla, okay? And actually, I'm the founder of Educast International Association. I've taught in different teaching contexts. I've taught young learners, teenagers, and adults. I've worked in schools, different schools, as a teacher and a teacher trainer. I've also worked at Forest University in Alexandria as an ESL instructor. I've worked, for international organizations like Refugee Ed, a community teacher trainer there. And I'm also the head of the Educast International Special Interest Groups. We have 6 interest groups to serve teachers and provide, high quality education, which is affordable for teachers inside Egypt and outside Egypt. I also have a podcast called Educast Interviews Podcast, where I interview ELT experts from different parts of the world. Actually, I had the privilege of interviewing, most of the most wonderful and well-known names in the field of ELT. I've interviewed Dr. Stephen Krashen, the famous linguist. I've interviewed Scott Turnberry, Catherine Bellsborough, and many other famous names like Dr. Ron Moraine, Emily Bryson, Harry Waters, Dr. Tom Godfrey, lots of great names.
Okay, wow, that's very impressive journey, and I'm really looking forward to further information from you, because I believe that this session will be very knowledgeable. When did you know you wanted to create something beyond the classroom?
Well, that's a good question. I've always been a creative person, or I wanted to be a creative person, and I also love sharing my ideas with others. In 2017, I worked as a language teacher at modern age language schools here in Al Mahalla. So I was looking for some way new, something new to connect with educators outside the classroom. I was looking for developing myself, developing other teachers at the same time, which will have a great impact on the students themselves. So I thought that creating something big, creating a big teaching community like Educast, and a podcast like Educast Interviews would be a great way to share my stories, other people's insights, with a wider audience, not only in Egypt, but outside Egypt. That's where the idea came.
And that sounds very interesting and very, I guess, supportive for the teachers, especially for the new teachers, because when they enter this field of ELT, they have many apprehensions regarding like how are they going to teach and what this whole process will be about. So I guess you're contributing, you're doing an amazing job. So tell me about
Thank you.
why.
And
Sorry.
yeah. Before moving to the coming question, let me tell you something else, because I come from an environment where are no where isn't enough for teachers to develop or start their own businesses or develop professionally. So that's why I thought about doing something to help them, because it wasn't any easy to do what I'm doing right now. So this is where I had the idea to help other teachers. And there is something else that I've always believed in, which is doing for others is really important, and it's more important than doing for myself. And again, the best way is to look is teach what you learn. So whenever I teachers and deliver it to other teachers and share it with others, so that they can develop, and I myself develop this way.
Yeah. So there's the next question is something which I believe that our listeners, when they must be thinking about the same thing, that why podcasting and event management? Why do you think of that, like other than ELT?
Well, okay. Let's talk about podcasting first.
Mhm.
Well, the first time I thought of creating a podcast was teachers needed more, you know. So I thought to myself, what can I do to help teachers by learning from, learning from others? I started my podcast at the very beginning, and I started by summarizing teacher training books for teachers. Teachers are busy, so they can listen to summaries while they are on their way to work or in the gym or any other place, so they can learn at with no cost, without doing any effort. So that's where the idea of podcasting came. And also, I tried to do something big. So I talked to some of the biggest names in our field. I talked to Scott Thornberry to be my first guest in my podcast, Educast interviews. And he said yes. And actually, that was a very big surprise to have such a wonderful guest at the very beginning. Especially, he was the author of the book that I was trying to summarize for teachers, which was 30 language teaching methods. So he was the first guest in my podcast. And the challenge here was to find other important guests, because we
Yeah,
started big. So you need to keep doing the same thing, you know.
exactly.
Um, I'm a little bit of risk taker. So I started sending emails to my connections on LinkedIn. I know lots of important people in our field. I started sending them invitations, and they said yes, why not?
Mhm.
So I had lots of wonderful people join me, especially when Dr. Stephen Krashen said yes. We spoke for over 25 minutes about second language acquisition. It was really enjoyable. And lots of wonderful guests kept joining me. Actually, I had Sam Mercer, a British linguist, a couple of days ago, and Anna Hasper. She's a well-known teacher trainer, and Rona Snelling, an ELT author. Yes, Danny Davis. Yeah, he was the co-author of dealing with emergent language with Richard Chen, who was a guest at my podcast at the very beginning also. So yes, so lots of wonderful people kept coming to my podcast and sharing their insights with teachers. And I use Anchor. on Spotify as a platform for my podcast. When I tried to check the analytics, how many people are listening to my podcast, I was surprised when I found that people from 72 countries or 74 countries,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, from
This is
different
an
parts of the
achievement.
world, yeah, are
Yeah.
listening to my podcast. That's yes, so this is what keeps me going forward, moving forward, inviting more people to share their ideas, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you look at a book, for example, like the CELTA course
Yeah.
book,
Mm-hmm.
and you find the names Scott Turnberry, Sandy Mellon, and
Mm.
you have these names sharing their ideas with you in a free podcast. That's
Yeah.
good. You know,
Yeah.
this is something that is really helpful to teachers inside Egypt and outside Egypt at the same time. When it comes to um, event management or events organizing and all of this stuff, I started hosting um, professional development webinars a couple of years ago. And I also had the same approach. I invited the biggest names.
Mhm.
And again, they said yes, they came, they shared their insights. I had um, Dr. Jason Anderson, he's a famous researcher in the
Mhm.
field of ELT. We had, so let me tell you something about this. When he came, he said, okay, we will have a question and answer webinar. It was
Mhm.
the very beginning.
Okay.
And I was really nervous because he said to me, I'm going to talk about my answers from my own perspective, but you will have to share your answers from your own perspective. And I said,
Okay.
okay, that would be great. So we did great actually in this webinar. We answered all of the challenging questions from the audience. And then lots of wonderful people kept coming to my webinars. Dr. Deborah Healy,
Uh-huh.
she came and she presented on gamification. Dr. Joga Kunga,
Wow.
she also presented on lesson frameworks. So to your surprise, I still remember the titles of the
Yeah.
presentation
But you know,
because
these are all your achievements, and I don't think so you'll ever forget, like, working and getting those people interacting with you, which is a wonderful achievement as an educator.
of course, yes. And, succeeding at bringing people from every place in the world to attend these webinars made
Mhm.
me think of doing something new. So I
Yeah.
said to myself, because I hate routines, I
Mhm.
hate doing the same things over and over again without any changes.
Mm.
So I said to myself, if I can do webinars, if I can organize webinars, what about organizing a conference?
Mm.
I worked for 5 months
Wow.
creating designs. I
Mhm.
used my experience as a graphic designer from the
Okay.
past,
Mhm.
created banners, invited wonderful people. I had over 40 speakers attending from different parts of the world.
Mm.
Most of them were, well known everywhere in the world in our
Mhm.
field. The conference lasted for 2 days. We had 3,000 people attending the conference from, from about 52 countries. It was, crazy.
Wow.
We also had sponsors.
Mhm.
The conference was held in partnership with Cambridge University Press and Assessment, National Geographic Learning Europe, and Macmillan Education MENA.
Wow, that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah. And then, I specialized at organizing events for other institutions. Actually, at the moment, I'm working with a reputable university to
Mhm.
organize an on-site event next year, an on-site
Oh,
conference. Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
okay,
It will be, something big
okay.
next year, inshallah.
Okay, would you want to give us a little peek about that event for the next year?
Well, okay. Well, it will be talking about actually the last version of my conference
Mhm.
was talking about challenges in ELT, but the coming one will be about artificial intelligence and the latest trends in
Wow.
ELT.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this in
Mhm.
Egypt, in Africa, in the Arab world. And we
Yes.
also are going to invite people from
Mhm.
different parts of the world to attend this
Yeah.
conference.
Because
And,
this is
yeah,
something
to
which
share.
is the new era in education, the artificial intelligence.
Exactly. This
And
is
very,
revolutionizing
it's going
education.
on very rapidly around schools, especially
Yeah.
here in United States. It's practiced a lot. So you have a very, very mashallah, rich and struggling journey and rich experience with so much of hard work. So I would really like to know that what did you do to develop yourself in that field while being a full-time teacher? Because the amount of work you're doing in different domains, it's such a challenging thing. But how did you develop yourself in that field while being a full-time teacher? And what was your starting point for that?
Well, okay. Before I forget, yes, I worked by myself on everything regarding the conference, but there's a great group of people who helped me to put the conference together at the last minute, as we say. Dr. Ron Murray, it was a famous name, and he helped me. He was handling, or used to handle every single session in the conference, and also we had an event last Ramadan where we had speakers from different parts of the world to share their insights. We also had I had a wonderful group of teachers who had just graduated from one of my teacher training courses. So the thanks to them, it was a big success. But when we talk about the challenges that I went through, especially I used to work as a full-timer. Well, actually, let me tell you, for the last 7 years, I've almost worked for 12 to 13 hours a day, every day.
Okay.
And that's really exhausting.
I can imagine that, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, I started following in Egypt when it comes to our field, the teacher trainers, the influencers, and all these wonderful people. I learned by observing them. I'm very good at observing people and observing things. So I learned about what they do, how they do it, and thought about starting from the things that they don't have. That's where I got the idea of my podcast. That's where I got the idea of putting a conference together, an international conference. But again, I don't like routines, as I told you before. So I used to work as a language teacher at the language school. So there wasn't enough when we talk about professional development. I didn't have enough opportunities to develop. Okay, and I wasn't convinced by some of the techniques used there. So I started looking for courses on the internet. So I took the TESOL certificate from Arizona State University by the wonderful Dr. Shane Dixon and the other team at Arizona State University. And that was my beginning. I started shooting videos to summarize what I learned from this course, putting them on a YouTube channel. It was the first spread of COVID-19, so I was trying to, struggle and not lose hope. I kept working hard. I kept reading books, taking online courses, till I decided to leave this school and joined Forest University in Alexandria as an ESL instructor. And there, I took my CELTA. I took the TKT from Cambridge and many other courses. I even took a course from National Geographic Learning. It was National Geographic Educator Certification Program. Everything helped to develop my teaching skills, develop my mindset. And again, it wasn't any easy for me at any stage of my life. This all, helped me to grow or develop a growth mindset. Okay. And so I know that nothing comes easily in life. You have to work hard to get what you want. Okay. That's how, I managed to do everything because I was self-motivated. I cannot go to work every single day, get back home, have something to eat, and then go to sleep. No, this can't be my life. I should find an hour or two every day to study, to take courses, to work on myself. So that's how I dealt with this, you know.
Yeah.
So I keep doing this till now. Yeah, actually, I take breaks from time to time. Yeah, I
Mhm.
switch off my cell phone, you know, and take deep sleep. You know, go to somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, to take some time off.
Yeah, you need that break actually with so much of hard work, mashallah. So what resources have you used to create Educast? Like any kind of like you listen to other podcasts or research articles, or you did actual research before creating this?
Well, okay. During the first spread of COVID-19, I followed some teacher trainers in Egypt here interviewing each other. So this
Mhm.
is where I got the idea. And but you know, they all provided the same services on social media. So what's new? Okay, they all talked about their journeys till they've become successful. So I thought to myself that I need to, or I needed to create something new, maybe a podcast, yes, but to interview real people from, you know, or real, not real, you know, the elite people in our field.
Mhm.
Okay. So I searched on the internet about platforms to create podcasts. And then I found Anchor. I created an account there and then used my cell phone, you know, to record my voice and also Zoom to introduce people. And then, you know, because I'm some kind of good with technology, dealing with videos and audios and all this stuff. So it wasn't that difficult. But regarding Educast, because I've always been interested in sharing ideas with others, I thought about using social media, my social media account on Facebook to do the same thing, creating a group. I spent a long time to decide on a name for Educast. I thought that it was, you know, the only thing was this name, but after creating the page, I then realized that there are a lot of pages with the same name, but they are talking about things different from teaching, which was good, you know. So yes, I did a lot of research on the internet. I followed influencers, um, teacher trainers, people from different parts of the world to get an understanding of how to create my own business, how to start all of this, you know. And again, because I told you I'm good at observing, you know, everything around me. I try to take down notes, find what's wrong, and try to come up with new things that aren't that wrong, maybe, or to correct these mistakes, maybe. But the main aim here was to help teachers get high quality education in an affordable way.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful idea. So how does Educast benefit the educators?
Well, Educast benefits educators in a number of ways. It provides them with a platform to share their ideas, their insights, their stories with a wider audience through two podcasts. The first one is Educast Podcast بالعربي or in Arabic, and the other one is Educast Interviews Podcast. It also gives them access to resources and information, posts on social media platforms that can help them improve the teaching practice. Educast offers also a big range of teacher training courses in affordable prices. Some of them are already accredited. Okay. Educast also provides webinars, completely free webinars, conferences, and consultation. You know, so Educast is about helping educators connect with other educators and build a community of support.
So it's kind of a very a comprehensive platform where teachers can get access to any kind of requirement they need in their teaching resources or any
Yeah,
kind of help, right?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay, that's wonderful. So another very important question, which I'm sure that the teachers out there who are listening to you will be wondering that how do you manage your time with so much of work?
Time management has always been a challenge for me. I
Mm,
wasn't I wasn't that good at the very beginning, but I tried to find my priorities. Again, as I always say, family always comes first. In the first couple of years as a teacher, I was really busy working on myself, developing myself, taking courses and all this stuff till I lost my father. And this made me rethink about my attitude in life, about what I'm doing and what should I do to have enough time or to give enough time for my family. So again, I spent a lot of time with my family. I also share everything with them. They are always supportive, especially my wife. Even my son Yusuf, he's 5 years old now. He knows Educast. He knows the word Educast. Yeah. So what is this, Yusuf? Yes, it's Educast. Yeah. It's your job. Okay. So again, family comes first, and then comes the rest. So I have a calendar and a to-do list that I keep up to date. I prioritize my tasks. I
mm,
focus on the most important tasks first, and then work on the list important tasks later. Um, I try to delegate tasks when possible. I don't try to do everything by myself. Actually, I sometimes ask for help because I cannot do everything by myself. It's really crazy to be working as a graphic designer, as a manager, as a teacher trainer, and a teacher at the same time. It's really crazy.
mm. Yeah, it's I believe it's kind of a teamwork as well. Like, or even if you develop your own platform, but you still need a team to help you out with some of the things, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
what's your advice for teachers who want to spread their wings beyond the classroom? Like, what kind of steps do you think they should take, or what resources they should use or access, if any, from your platform to develop their skills?
Well, okay. The first thing, number one, is to start whenever possible. uh, Please don't wait till something happens. Just start, just do it. uh, Take a notebook, write your points, write your ideas, and then start doing them. Because if you keep thinking and looking at people, you will waste your time without doing anything new. No, just start. Take many courses as you can in what interests you in your job course in teaching. Also, attend every single webinar that you find, attend conferences. There are a lot of free resources everywhere, not only through Educast. There are lots of useful websites, like the British Council Teaching English website. There are a lot of free courses, free webinars, and also podcasts. Webinars by Cambridge, by Macmillan Education, National Geographic Learning, and Teach OGN also has a wonderful podcast like this one. They also provide teacher training programs and webinars. So number one, start as soon as possible. Number two, prioritize what's really important for you, and don't ever forget that you have a family, you have some other commitments and responsibilities. Number three, stay away and avoid uh, negativity. Don't wait for others to motivate you. Try to be self motivated. Look for motivation in everything around you, because not everyone will love you. We weren't created in this world to impress each other. We're trying to work hard, worship our gods, of course, and try to seek for success. We're trying to leave something good behind. We're trying to develop ourselves and uh, help each other. So you can do this by learning and sharing what you learn with others. Um, Make sure that your professional development is really important. Whenever you look for a job, always search for real professional development opportunities as your priority. Number two, try to find a comfortable, healthy work environment. Number three, good salary. So it comes third. not first.
Yes.
Because if you don't look for real professional development opportunities, you will waste your time. If
It's true.
you
That's
don't
true.
have a comfortable, healthy working environment, you will spend the money you take on your mental and physical health. And
Yes, that's very true. I do agree with that as well.
yeah, and what comes third is you find a good salary to spend on your family and on yourself, or maybe on your professional development.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
If you're not at peace or you're not comfortable working in a certain environment, no matter how much they pay you, it's of no use. This is what I believe.
Exactly. Yeah. They can give you a lot of money, but you're not comfortable there. You're not developing. So it's, your existence there is completely wrong. You have to run away from there. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a wonderful advice. But there's another question which I would like to ask you on behalf of like new teachers who are completely new and who have no experience at all. So if they access Educast, so what would you offer them to develop or to start their career as a teacher?
Well, actually, I invite them to listen to the podcast because there are a lot of wonderful topics discussed there in every episode. We're not only talking about how to teach skills and systems and the basics of TEFL or TESOL. We're talking about teaching in general and learning. I really recommend that they start creating their own businesses, create pages where they share the differences between language items, for example. I really recommend that they follow other teachers and teacher trainers. I recommend that they should find mentors for them. We all need mentors, right? We all need guidance from people who are more experienced than us, right? So it's not bad that we have someone where who we can ask whenever we want. It's really a necessity that you have someone like this, someone whom you trust, someone who you go to ask about anything that might pop up, you know. So find a mentor. Don't follow the trends. Value your time because your time is really important. I started everything. Maybe yes, I've been in this field for over 11 years, maybe, but not every single example, not every single successful example can fit to your life because we go through different challenges, and Allah gave each and every one of us something different from other people. Okay, so I might be able to overcome some challenges, but some other people won't do the same thing, and and vice versa. You know what I mean? So just try to do your best. Through Educast, there are a lot of teacher training programs that you can take. I have a very affordable teacher training program called How to Teach English. Actually, it's really affordable. It takes 2 months. It teaches teachers, beginner teachers, the basic skills of teaching, how to teach skills and systems, effective classroom management techniques, lesson planning, and all these topics. They can also attend free webinars. And I always encourage fresh graduates or new teachers to take what's free at the very beginning till they are able to find good courses, that are really worth paying for.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Because
Thank you.
free resources, are everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I believe this is a very comprehensive and a wonderful advice for the new teachers to follow. So, what's one question you wish I had asked you, and how would you have answered that? I might have not asked you the question you were thinking for.
Okay. Well, you asked me about what teachers need to become successful,
Mhm.
but my answers won't be realistic if we don't talk about the challenges they might face, right?
Yes.
So I think there are a lot of challenges new teachers might face when they try to um, start their journeys. Well, the biggest challenges of spreading their wings beyond the classroom include finding enough time for doing everything. Again, we talked about time management, and it was really difficult at the very beginning of my journey. Sometimes it's really difficult to find energy and the resources to do this. They might follow teachers and teacher trainers from inside their countries or outside their countries that who offer courses. And these people keep telling these teachers that it's really important to take courses to develop. You have to take, for example, the CELTA course. So again, in Egypt, the CELTA course costs a lot of money compared to what new teachers get paid in schools and institutions. So they don't have to go for these courses at the very beginning. They don't have to feel, overburdened by the amount of money they need to take such courses. They will face negativity. Not everyone will try to support them. However, they have to take some examples and find the impacts of overcoming all of these things, all of these challenges. Okay. So, yes, the journey is really tiring. It's really draining, yes, but it's really worth it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Nabil, for sharing such a wonderful, insightful, and a detailed, like detail of all your journey and what you're offering as an educator, which is wonderful and amazing. And I believe that any teacher who connects with your platform will undoubtedly will be having amazing benefits. And it's wonderful to have you on our platform. And thank you for taking out your time for this. Anything you would like to say in the end?
Yeah, the honor and pleasure is all mine, actually. I'd like to thank you and the team for inviting me to this wonderful podcast. I'm always willing to share my journey with other people, especially that I think that it might be a source of inspiration for some people that to know that I come from a low resource environment. I'm talking about financials. I'm talking about professional development opportunities. That's why I kept saying to you that teachers need to start. They can't wait for something to happen. They can't wait for money to come to them in order to start. No, they can start. If they have access to the internet, they can create pages on Facebook. All of us have, we all have Facebook accounts on LinkedIn and other platforms. So we have to start. We have to start working on ourselves. We have to start helping others because helping others will also help in developing ourselves.
Exactly. And that's the reason I believe your the whole journey that you shared is so realistic, because you are a self-made person. Like, you had to search for resources, you had to search for ways to stand up in the competitive environment with less financial resources, because finance, I guess, is the one of the most important issue which teachers lack when they want to start a career. So thank you again. Thank you for the wonderful session and taking out your time for this.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.